What's up, everybody? I'm Flash. This is One Man's Opinion, the show where we cover just about everything. And today, we're talking about The Whale. The Whale is a 2022 film starring Brendan Fraser, kind of a renaissance of his career that he's sort of undergoing right now. It's cool to see him back on the scene. It also has Sadie Sink, which most people will know from Stranger Things, and it also stars Hong Chow. Now, look, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I'm not going to get into spoilers for The Whale because if you're not familiar with the story, it was a play before it became a film, and that's what the film is based off of. But if you're not familiar with the story, you probably don't want to be spoiled as to how it ends. So I'll stay away from spoilers, but I do want to make mention, the beginning of this movie is very off-putting. And I guess I'll just start there because it is the beginning. And I wasn't prepared. I will say this outright. If you're bothered by, homosexual content, and some people are, this probably isn't the movie for you. I didn't really know about it going in, so it definitely caught me off guard. Other than that, though, the movie is a very confined, emotional journey. Let me just say right off the top, Brendan Fraser is phenomenal in his role. The acting in this movie throughout by everyone involved is really, really good. I thought Sadie Sink in particular was fantastic. Her character is so hard to pin down. It's very difficult to really pin down if she's a good person or if she's a bad person, if she's misunderstood or if she's actually pretty chaotic. It's kind of hard to wrangle her down, and I quite enjoyed that aspect of her character. I thought it made her character very complex and very interesting in that way. Brendan Fraser's character is a little bit more straightforward. He's this kind of very positive guy who chooses to kind of see the brighter side of things in almost all situations. And then Hong Chow plays a woman that is not only his nurse, but also his friend, and also has another sort of relationship with him that I won't get into because it could be considered spoiler-ish, especially if you don't know anything going into it like I did. Now, let me just say right off, after watching this movie, it's difficult for me to really judge this film. This isn't my type of movie. And so I'm trying very hard not to hold anything against the movie too much because it's not my flavor of film. It's a very dramatic, it's a very centered piece. It's a character piece. It focuses, the whole movie takes place in not in one room, but in one very small house. And almost the whole movie takes place in one room with the exception of just a couple scenes. There are scenes to this movie that are difficult to watch, but I think that that's where the movie shines also. I like the mirror that it holds up, the reflection of something that can be very, very real, a very real problem for some people, holding up that mirror and showing the audience how devastating some of these things can be is done exceptionally well, in my opinion. These things include, overeating and obesity, but also more than that, depression, and it also deals quite a bit with human interaction, with relationships, with, the information that we choose to hold from one another, lack of honesty, and these things are central to the plot of the movie. This whole situation, the whole movie wouldn't take place if people had just been a little bit more open and honest and understanding with each other. And that in particular, I think, is one of the strong suits of the movie. It is a confined film, but it does tackle some pretty large issues, and I think it tackles them all with tact, but not only with tact. Sometimes when things are tactful, you think, okay, it's pulling the punches a little bit. It doesn't really pull punches either. It's not afraid to show the ugly side of these things. For that, I also applaud the movie. Again, the acting was phenomenal. In particular, the three stars I thought really carried the movie. Brendan Fraser, Sadie Sink, and Hong Chow do a phenomenal job, each in their own respective roles with their own unique personalities that they bring to the table. And I think truly all of them knock it out of the park. Though Brendan Fraser won the Oscar for Best Leading Actor, I believe it was. I don't know if Sadie Sink won an Oscar or not, but I think she deserved it. In my opinion, she had the most difficult character to convey, someone who was kind of all over the place emotionally, and I thought that she pulled it off in an incredible way. Honestly, was really, really good. I do have complaints about the movie, other than the off-putting beginning that I thought you didn't really have to have. You don't have to show a character. Look, I'm just going to throw it out there. And this isn't really a spoiler. You should know it going into the movie anyway. There's in one of the very early scenes of the film, there is a scene of Brendan Fraser watching gay pornography. And it just happens, and it's on your screen very, very quickly and abruptly, and there's not really any warning for it. And I don't think that needed to be there. You don't need to show someone watching gay porn to know that they're gay or to convey that they're homosexual. Like that, to me, was unnecessary. Even if it had been straight porn, regardless of the variety of pornography that this dude was choosing to indulge himself with, I don't need to see those things on camera. I can think of a handful of movies where pornography has been shown, where a person is watching it, and none of those times did I think, boy, I sure am glad I saw that. I've never once thought that, and I didn't need to see it here, be it of the gay or straight variety. I didn't care for that scene, and I just, it's always so off-putting when you see that sort of thing in film. I don't care for it at all. But aside from that, I thought that there is a bit of a misstep at the end, and this is just from a writing perspective personally, and I know that they're going based off the play, but I could still, regardless of whether it's a play or a movie or a book, I can still have my disagreements with how it ended. It's going to be difficult for me to convey my issues with the ending without giving any spoilers away, and so without being able to go into too much detail or talk about it at length, I'll just put it as vaguely as I can and move on. Essentially, Sadie Sink's character is, as I said earlier, very difficult to pin down throughout the movie. Her personality is kind of all over the place, and you don't really know if she's a good person who is just doing her best to try to help people in her own weird way, or if she's a bad person and kind of delights in pain and the pain of others and kind of a chaos a bit. And I thought personally it should have kept it ambiguous. I think that the movie would have been better served to have the audience wonder, because to me that was the most intriguing part of the movie, was her character. It was, it was very difficult to understand necessarily where she was coming from all the time or why she went about things the way that she did. And I would have personally enjoyed had the film ended still not being 100% sure on which side of the fence that she fell. Instead, at the end of the movie, it is more or less confirmed. And that's as much as I will say. I won't say whether, what side of the fence she ended up landing on, but I wish that they didn't have to show it. I think most people would have assumed the correct choice. I think most people are smart enough to have made the connections, and followed the breadcrumbs and came to their own conclusion. I particularly find that to be more engaging for the audience when they kind of are left wondering about things like that, especially with a character as complex and interesting as she was. And so I wish that they had left that, continually ambiguous instead of kind of pinpointing where she fell toward the end of the movie. But aside from that, the movie is very good for what it is. Again, it's difficult for me because it's not necessarily my flavor of film. But I don't have any other real negatives to say about it either. And so to me, it's a fine movie. It's for what it sets out to accomplish. I think it does an exceptional job at accomplishing these things, and for that reason, I'm giving The Whale a 94 overall. All right, well, let me know what you thought about The Whale. Were you as off-put as I was at parts? Did you agree with my assessment of Sadie's character toward the end? Did you think it would have been better to kind of leave that character a little ambiguous as far as her moral compass goes, or did you like that it kind of, put it in concrete right at the end and kind of left you with that knowledge? And again, I have to be careful how I phrase, but let me know what you thought in the comments below. Did you enjoy Brendan Fraser's performance? I thought it was very, very good. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments below. If there's another movie you'd like to hear me review, leave it in the comments below. If you did disagree with me and you thought The Whale was really, really bad and that I shouldn't have given it as high a score as I did, don't get mad. Remember, this is just one man's opinion.